You know, in almost every myth across so many traditions, you find these stories of great beings and even greater falls. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful ones, a tale drawn from some fascinating texts about a magnificent angel, a monumental task, and a single fatal flaw that would, well, change the cosmos forever. So let's unpack the story of Azazel. This was a being of just immense power. And his tale? It serves as a timeless warning about the razor-thin line between greatness and, you guessed it, devastating arrogance. All right, so to really get this, you have to imagine a time before time itself, when the entire cosmos was just a divine idea. Our story kicks off not with God creating the universe directly, but by entrusting this massive task to one of his most powerful and, importantly, favored angels. The mission was nothing less than to build the entire cosmos. I mean, can you even imagine that responsibility? The sheer scale of being handed the divine blueprint and just being told, make this real. And so, the angel got to work. With incredible focus and power, he first crafted this magnificent expanse of the heavens, setting the stars and galaxies into their perfect celestial dance. Then, his focus shifted downward. He started fashioning the worlds themselves, shaping mountains, pouring oceans, and forming the very ground of existence across countless realms. And finally, he breathed life into these new worlds, filling them with all sorts of wonder and completing that divine mandate. The work was done, and honestly, it was perfect. So, who was this incredible cosmic architect? Well, his name was Azazel. And his status among all the other angels was, well, it was nothing short of legendary. His very name, Azazel, literally means the dear one to God. And that wasn't just a title, it was a statement. He was God's favorite, uniquely cherished and held in the absolute highest esteem possible. And just think about the sheer scale of his authority. He wasn't just a servant, he was more like a cosmic viceroy. Some narrations even say he had a throne right next to God's own. He was put in charge of the affairs of all creation, second to absolutely no one but the Almighty himself. His greatness was just so profound, so radiant, that even the most powerful archangels, we're talking figures like Gabriel and Michael, would look at him with total awe, aspiring to be on his level of perfection. But right here, at the absolute peak of his glory, standing as the most revered being in the universe that he himself had built, something started to shift. A tiny whisper of pride began to poison that perfection. So as Azazel is looking out over this perfect universe, these flawless heavens and worlds he had crafted with his own power, a really dangerous thought started to take root in the soil of his own accomplishment. And it all started with just a single question, probably spoken only to himself. Who is greater than I am? In that quiet moment of self-admiration, that tiny seed of pride just blossomed into a direct challenge to divine authority. The consequence for this one single prideful thought was not delayed. It wasn't up for debate. It was immediate, it was cosmic, and it was absolutely catastrophic. There was no pause, no moment to think it over. In the divine order of things, that kind of hubris just could not be tolerated, not even for an instant. It's like the cosmos itself recoiled from his arrogance. The response wasn't some complex punishment. It was pure, raw, elemental force. A simple, devastating fireball of divine judgment aimed right at the heart of his creation. The very heavens and worlds he had just been admiring, the source of all that arrogance, were now just engulfed in celestial flame. His perfect legacy, his whole claim to greatness, was turning to ash right before his eyes. But the story of Azazel doesn't just end in fire and ruin. No, it transforms into something else entirely. A timeless warning, a profound lesson that gets etched into the very fabric of creation. The transformation was absolute. I mean, he went from being the revered creator, God's cherished favorite, to a universal symbol, a cautionary tale of what happens when greatness curdles into arrogance. So ultimately, the fall of Azazel isn't just a myth about some ancient angel. It's really a mirror. It forces us to look at our own achievements, our own confidence, and ask a really unsettling question. Just how fine is the line that we all walk between pride in our work and the kind of pride that burns worlds,